that evil lurks in the hearts of men. The shadow knows.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Gray Man Prepping. Yes, it is time for, I get to work here. There we go. Time for Tactical Tuesday. Tonight we're talking more, because tonight's topic is how hurricanes affects everyone, everywhere. How's everybody doing out there? And I guess it's not fantasy. The banner loaded the wrong one on me. All right, that one. All right. So let's go back and see who all's here. I see a couple more just came in, so let's go to the top. First one in was Shady Hill Homestead, then Walt Rogers, then Troop 1351, then Tammy from Rebel Canners, proudly claiming she was fourth. Mike, UK Urban Prepper is in the house. And it's the Marshmallow Man's here. Hey, Lewis. Mark is in the side chat here. Magic Acres. He actually got an ad. Ooh. I missed Mother Earth Garden Club up there. Okay. Mother Earth Garden Club came right in after Mark. Kaylin's Train is here. Geeky Gardens in the house. Utah Mike is here. And okay, so Utah Mike said he's number 11. All righty. Well, all right. The numbers just dropped twice. It was 15, then it dropped to 14, dropped to 13. Those must be the trolls that were trying to post unfavorable things and found out they can't post a comment unless they're a subscriber. The Watchman's in the house. Welcome. All right, so tonight's topic, I've talked about a little bit on and off during other live streams. It's kind of one of those side topics that comes up. So, and I froze. One of the things that is so apropos about tonight's topic is this morning I was watching Space Weather News, and Ben showed a NOAA hurricane map thing, and Vanessa Kitty just came in showing down south of Baja California on the Pacific coast there of Mexico, shows a hurricane. That would be a typhoon developing off the coast there in the Pacific. Whatever I know hurricanes is in Atlantic, and it's either typhoon or someone correct me, typhoon or cyclones in the Pacific. And it's the thing showing this path going right out, missing the tip of Baja California, but cutting into Mexico. Nothing was said about whether or not it'll reach the Gulf of Mexico and then into the Gulf of America. Yeah, tropical storm now, but it's developing. And so if it develops enough and it's able to chug on across Mexico and hit the Gulf, there could be some other problems on there. Even it does remain just a tropical storm or a level 1 hurricane when it makes if it makes landfall either into Florida or into one of the Gulf states. But tonight's topic is very specific about how a storm on the East Coast affects everyone everywhere in the United States, a little bit up in Canada, and a bit down in Mexico because of supplies. Prepper Girl, welcome. And one of the things you have to realize is that the supply chain here in the Americas is so interconnected, even between the United States and Mexico and the United States and Canada. because it's all the highways and everything just moves this way, that way, up and down, across everywhere. So when one part of the country gets hit with a devastating storm like a big hurricane coming through and causing a lot of damage, it affects everyone, even in Washington, Oregon, California, even in Hawaii and Alaska, because of the way supplies move here. And that's what I'm going to be talking about. But first, now that I laid out that kind of ground rule, everybody put on your thinking caps and come up with something how you can see how a hurricane in the southeast or the northeast is going to affect other parts of the country. Okay. Diana 2's in and she is lurking. Prepper Girl also said she's going to be lurking too. Let me change something up. There we go. There. So figure out why I am stating this as such a fact that, so what if, a hurricane hitting Florida and Georgia, how's that going to affect everyone else in the country? Think about it. Throw your thoughts up in the side chat. And for those that want, I should have dropped this in earlier. We'll get some more people up here on the panel here. Pin message. There we go. Now it's pinned. All right. Mike says other parts of the world, when a major one in the U.S., we always get the backlash a few days later weather-wise. Okay. And Mark's hopping on the PC, so he should be up here shortly. No more lurking. Tammy says, because I want to establish supply chain, even the hostile called lean. Yeah. Citrus crops impact. Yes, that's one. And here they all pop up. Tammy and Mark. Oh, sorry. He-Man.
I have the power to change hurricane. Hi, Tammy.
So,
hello.
Patterns. Here we go. Grains from Iowa go down to the Gulf ports. Those ports get messed up and nothing gets in or out. Very good. Now we're just talking hurricanes tonight, but as we get on, and we'll add tornadoes into the mix here. But right now, primarily because, believe it or not, there are some tropical storms out there that could turn into this. Yes, Tammy.
I have an important comment on how it affects the whole United States. Ford Motor Company installed a supply modality called LEAN, L-E-A-N. I can't remember what the acronym stands for, but it basically means not to have more than a week's supply on your shelf because you're constantly getting new parts in. And even hospitals have taken on this modality so that if there is a supply chain breakdown, they only have a week's worth of stuff to keep them going.
Yeah, it's basically
on grocery stores, every place that has hurt. Everybody that has adopted that model has been hurt by it in this scenario.
All right. So Mike says he'd jump on, but he's not sure the UK perspective would be needed here.
You have hurricanes.
You have nor'easters and stuff. You can talk about how it affects one part of the country, another part. Utah Mike says, hurricanes hit the southeast, Utah's drought gets worse. Yeah. And here comes Lewis. Maybe. I'm waiting to see his picture.
Yeah.
It's still blank down there, so here's Lewis. All right, he's got. I know he's going to be having problems with the Canadian internet. Yeah, he froze there. All right. Anybody else have any other things that how it's going to affect? Because I got one that's I've noticed since before I got married.
Oh, every
Ryan
time
the
there's a
Gamer's in the
hurricane,
house. Hey, Ryan, how's it going?
every time there's a hurricane in the Gulf or on the East Coast, the fuel supply is affected. Oh,
Bingo,
Yeah.
there's one.
Yep.
We
They gotta
can't. Did I just steal your thunder? Sorry.
No, I was just going to agree with you. Yeah, they have to shut down production for 4 days. So the prices go up.
Prices went up. Wait a minute. Ironically, Pennsylvania fuel prices are generally higher than Maryland by about 10 cents a gallon. Well, the barrel price went down. Pennsylvania is now the same price as Maryland. Why is that? Because Maryland raised their fuel tax because you were willing to pay $2.30 a gallon, and it went down to $2.10. We'll add another 20 cents a gallon on the fuel tax. You'll never know. Yeah, we all know, and we're sick of it.
Yeah. All right, you hit a good one there with the fuel oil prices, and Kayla nailed it good. It's talk about logistics of stuff going down the Mississippi.
Yeah, you got trains, planes.
What about the stuff going up the Mississippi?
Mm-hmm.
That all of a sudden is not
train.
making port, not going in.
Yeah.
Electrical lines go down. Yeah, okay. And all right, I'm going to touch on this one just really quickly. Electrical lines and all the power and stuff goes down. What happens? Help! We need help of all electricians across the United States. And so all the power companies start sending people in. Now there's not enough people back home. If there's a disaster in, Michigan or Texas. Well, Texas down there, it could be involved anyways. But California, Washington, and all of a sudden, most of our crews are over there.
Yeah, so
now they're calling for help from anybody else to either send people to replace theirs down in the internet. I mean, into the hurricane area, so they can get their people back or whatever. And Lewis says, "Dang internet."
Yeah. So a friend of mine up in Maine works for a cell phone company, but he knows all the guys in the power company. So what happens is the forecast says it's going to slam Florida and cruise up the coast and hit Georgia and South Carolina and North Carolina, then Virginia, then cruise out to sea. So Maine generally, I see them a week beforehand in travel end. I mean, there's like 50 trucks all have Maine license plates on from Maine Power heading south. Why? Because they don't think they're not going to need them up there because the storm is supposed to head out to sea when it hits Jersey. Yeah. And so they head those down. Pennsylvania sends them down. Ohio sends them down. They all send them all down south, except for the ones along the coast because they're kind of stuck there. They're going to need them too. Yeah. And then all of a sudden that storm turns inland and wipes out other stuff. And they're like, oh, crap. Now we got nobody up there and we got to turn our guys around. Sorry, Florida. You're not getting Maine's help. Maine's on its way back up to Pennsylvania because they just got hammered. And Vermont, or not Vermont, New Hampshire and all that.
Yeah.
That
all right,
really
so
bad.
Mother Earth hit the jackpot. Yeah. When lumber, Georgia Pacific Lumber, well, Georgia, all right, first, that's what, okay. When, but, they're going to, prices go up due to areas need to rebuild. But not only that, all right, here comes Mike. Hey, Mike.
Hello.
What's up, Mike?
The other part of this is I've seen it every single time. As soon as the hurricane is going to go make landfall, prices of plywood in California go up. Why?
That's because they diverted stock. Yep.
Yeah, they diverted everything back east.
Yep.
And so, and all of a sudden the stuff you need is prices goes up because it's in limited supply. All right, what else did I miss here?
Supply and demand. Sorry, we don't have the supply here. We shipped it all to the west or to the east.
Yeah.
I still haven't figured out why people in Florida who for forever have needed plywood to board up their windows and stuff, and a lot of times the storm doesn't destroy the plywood. Why do they throw the plywood out? Number
Because
it.
it got wet. It got wet. They don't want to let it wait.
You
till
know which
for it to
window it
dry
goes
out.
on? Yeah.
But
Yeah.
They don't-
There's that.
They don't paint it, so when it gets wet, and in the humidity of Florida, it gets so moldy
Yeah.
and gross
Spread
that
it, yeah,
you don't want that
separates
wet.
molds. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, if they were smart, they'd get a piece and cut it for their windows and
Ahead of
paint
time.
it with, and then put it in their garage and have it ready.
Yeah.
Buy it when it's cheap. Pre-paint it with
Or maybe
a mold guard, and they'd have it. But,
maybe
you
use
know.
that
Yeah.
concrete. Use concrete backer board. It can get wet. It dries right back out again. It doesn't
Yeah.
go moldy.
But you know,
It's heavy,
Yeah.
but you know.
then you got to have space in your garage. I kind of get it. I think it's stupid, but
Yeah, Florida doesn't have basements, so
And that's one of the things. I mean, I know it. You know, it's been a few years since Uncle Al still watches my stuff and says hi and everything all the time. But since he was up here constantly with me, and Dave from Southern Ohio Prepping, oh yeah, that was one of both of those guys' pet peeves is that the people down in Florida and Georgia and Louisiana can't save the plywood they cut to match their windows, or just screwed over the whole side of the house there. Why can't they save it to the thing? But yeah,
because the humidity in Florida is so bad that
yeah.
anything like that gets wet is going to mold.
yeah,
And
but
and then they have
They
cockroaches.
don't buy it ahead of time when it's cheap and fit it. and put it on.
exactly.
Now
Buy
they
it
do have.
cheap,
I
paint
stayed
it with
in a bunch of,
oil-based paint. Paint it with oil-based paint.
Right.
Let it dry and cure, and then it's good for several years worth of hurricanes.
or
we-
buy what they call hurricane shades. They have the metal ones.
Yeah,
the shutters.
Yeah,
or
hurricane
the-
shutters. We stayed
Yeah.
in a bunch of condos down in Florida and the Keys way back in the day on vacation. They all had hurricane shutters.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like they don't need the plywood. They just literally send their maintenance guy out and he just slides these things shut and they lock in place. And they're mostly concrete buildings, so right on the coast. So they really, unless the waves destroy the building if they're that high, no, and the parking garages were underneath the entire place, so nobody parks there. The water just flows through and doesn't do any damage. It's gone.
All right, Mike. What happens in over in your country when a nice big nasty nor'easter hits land?
Oh, well, yeah, everyone panics because the UK is not prepared for any weather. It snows, we're surprised. It's hot, we're surprised. We're surprised at everything. So
It's foggy, you're surprised. If it's not foggy, you're surprised.
Exactly. We don't have storm shutters or anything like that. Very few preppers might have them, but the general population don't have any contingency. So we just watch trees fall on houses and trampolines go faster than the speed of light across people's neighborhoods. And that's about it, yeah.
Now, do you see any problems there? Like if Ireland gets nailed, including North and South Ireland, gets nailed, any supply shortage in the UK?
I've not really seen much supply shortage, purely based on, it's quite a small place compared to the States, and there's many different routes. Very rarely we've had a storm that would affect all routes. You might have one road closure, which affects a little bit, but it's only delay in time, not in like total stoppage or anything like that. So no, not really. Damage to buildings is the only real thing that we have every so often. But as you know, we don't have many wood builds over here, if any. All brick buildings, all old stone buildings. So roof tiles and solar panels is the biggest risk.
Yeah, the ancestors there knew how to build a building to last long.
Yeah. It's great in some ways, but I do think because we don't have the extreme weather, it feels like wood builds would be more cost effective over here. But we just, we're stuck in our ways.
Yeah. All right. So we got Mel Sibley and Sambo Rambo in on your side there. So
Yeah, I didn't think anybody else will be awake at my side. It's just my insomnia.
We never. Come on, Mike. Nobody ever sleeps on your channel ever.
It's zombie prepping, I should be calling it.
Mike, one time, when I first started doing the midnight ride with Gray Man Prepping, we started. It started at 10 o'clock my time, which is midnight Eastern time. We wound up going to 4 a.m. because we had like 20 people trying to get up on the panel with us, and everybody. It was just it's like, how come nobody's sleeping?
It's weird, isn't it? Because when I do my scheduled shows, like my podcasts or my fireside, it goes for an hour, 2 hours if it's a good subject. But the one night I tried it, like you guys do, and just did an open panel, I looked and I'm like, oh crap, we've been live for 3 hours and I didn't even realize.
Yeah. Open panels really get everybody going on it. So, that's one of the things, but the topic here, how it affects everyone everywhere. I've noticed that, and following stuff when I was at work there, as the emergency management coordinator there, I had to, get stuff ready for in case something happened on the West Coast for when the storm's there on the East Coast. And I'm calling the guys back at the Homeland Security, Homeland Security Preparedness Secretariat. Man, that's a weird name for a department within a department. I got a couple more coming in here. Got David Knight on your side. Dave's showed up on my side a couple times, and Monkey Wrench. But yeah, it's really amazing how different parts of the country get affected by what is going on with a hurricane. Lumber on the West Coast, I know because I should look at the prices. Boom, up it goes. Or we're out of stock for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, because all the trains were diverted there from Maine and Canada to take the stuff down there because that's where the sales are. Hey.
The weirdest thing is, though, I have never seen a toilet paper shortage on the West Coast for an East Coast hurricane.
That's because hurricanes don't cause TP shortages. Other things do.
Yeah, earthquakes do that.
Yeah, earthquakes and body quakes. Yeah.
There is no TP shortage.
No.
Okay. First of all, toilet paper is manufactured. It's the byproduct of all that lumber they're manufacturing. They take all the wood chips and they pour it in a machine and they make paper out of it. In this case, tissue paper. There is no such thing. As long as they are lumbering trees, there is no such thing as a toilet paper shortage. During COVID, when everybody was freaked out, our local pulp factory opened up and said you could buy toilet paper for $26 a case. And by a case, I mean a 4-foot by 4-foot box.
That's a lot of TV.
That's like 80
All
rolls.
right.
That's
You could get one. You could get one box a month up there if you wanted to drive 2 hours north of here.
I literally, my mother-in-law, rest her soul, was like a hoarder that you didn't know she was a hoarder. She couldn't drive, so anytime somebody went to the store, and this is pre-2020, anytime somebody went to the store and said, hey, pick me up a case of this, pick me up cartons of cigarettes, pick me up this, pick me up that. When I clean the house out, I am literally 2.5 years later, I haven't had to buy toilet paper since 2018.
How's that coffee
That's how much
coming
toilet
along?
paper I've stacked in and paper towels. Oh my God.
Can I ask you, was it the same over there though? Because I struggled to get this through to people over here that there's not a shortage of toilet paper, but a supermarket or a store can only shelf so much. It takes up a lot of space. Mm-hmm. If there's 300 cans of beans, 20 packs of toilet roll will take the same space. So it's going to sell quicker, but people just didn't add it up.
Yeah. Oh my God, they're out. That means there's going to be
and
they're on my butt for the next 4 years. Okay.
And they're on a 3-day cycle to restock the store. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, we've got all the just-in-time delivery stuff here over here, exactly the same.
Yeah, everybody does now.
It's that lean model. Ford Motor Company got this super great thing for supplying all their factories. They use it's called lean. It is the worst thing that was ever invented, and I can't say the word. It's really bad for hospitals. Okay, let me put it that way. Really bad if you're manager, administration in a hospital trying to have supplies for your floor, and your hospital wants to implement lean. It's horrible because then you only have 3 of something, but you never know when you're going to have 5 people walk in the door that need what you only have 3 of. It's horrible.
But as a manufacturer, you're always going to sell what you've got. So it's good for them for business, right?
It is. It's great in the manufacturing setting. But like even grocery stores, about the same time this came out, grocery stores took, instead of having shelves that were 4 foot deep, they now have shelves that are 2 foot deep. And they're not stocking as much of any product like they were before, because there's always going to be a truck coming next week, right?
Oh, yeah, till they're not. It's the fuel. Everything that knocks our supply chain is usually not to do with the food supply. It's to do with the fuel to transport it. It's always to do with the logistics.
All right, this is the package of Sam's Club Members Mark toilet paper. It's missing one 9-pack roll out of the top. So each one of these has 9 rolls of toilet paper. In other words, 45 rolls per pack.
I feel really ripped off. A
pallet, which is about 4 foot by 4 foot, has 48 of those on it. And they're charging how much?
$26.
Yeah.
I feel ripped off over here. Them rolls look twice the width of my rolls.
And they're double layer.
Everybody knows now because companies keep doing this. You know, it's called shrinkflation. So if you look at the average, if you go into a house that's more than 20 years old, the toilet paper roll holder is 6 inches apart. The size of it. The toilet paper has shrunk by more than an inch in width over the last 20 years. Why? We can charge the same. We make it a little smaller.
Yeah,
not to Members Mark, because they barely fit in the one in the holder that was being used.
I get it. We're talking the big box, the big name brands, Charmin and all them.
Yeah,
that's with everything. That's with everything, Chef Tech.
You still what's that?
That's with everything. Candy bars over here. You know, 20 years ago were this big. The same brand, the same bar is now this big.
Yeah, just like the 8-ounce can of tuna fish is now 6.2 ounces or 5.8 ounces. And you open a can up and it's like half full. Coffee used to be a 1 pound can. Now it's 11.5 ounce can in the same can because the cans are still cheap to get because they ordered 80 million of them. And they just make them the same size. They don't have to retool the dye machines to make the cans. They just don't put as much in there anymore.
We have bags of chips over here, so crisps we call them. But Walkers, I think you have them as Lays. Do you have them as Lays over there?
Yeah, Lays waffle chips. Yeah.
The multi-packs of them now contain less than 20 grams of crisps. It's all air. You open it up and it's like, is there some in there at the bottom? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
So Rob B just came in on your side.
So Mike, where are you? Because I know you're not in France because you talked about the toilet paper like it's the same as where you're at. And in France, it's like sandpaper.
So France is like what I used to have at school. I'm in the UK. I'm in England. But yeah, France is the stuff we used to have at school. And it was more like the plasticky tracing paper than actual toilet paper.
Yeah. Oh, and rough. Yep. It was rough. That's all I'm going to say. Really rough.
Take your own.
That's why. I know that's now. Why during 2020 and the next 4 years, the whatever pandemic, bidets were being advertised on TV. New toilet seats for America. Why? Because we don't use them. You don't need toilet paper. You got a little washy thingy to go on your butt. I mean, don't get me wrong. All of Europe uses them. They don't use toilet paper. They use a bidet. We use toilet paper. Why? I don't know. Because we didn't want to follow the English rule, I guess.
Is this science fiction becoming science fact with Demolition Man and the 3 seashells?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. But yeah, so I put the total. So basically, that 4 foot by 4 foot pallet worth for what was it? $40-something, Tammy. She's frozen. Tammy, so that was how 24 or 40 $42 or something for that.
It was 20. It was 26, but I was buying it directly from the manufacturer.
Yeah, so 26 from the manufacturer. This roll here, I think, is like 19 at Sam's Club. This package.
Mm-hmm.
But the 4 foot by 4 foot gives you 2,160 rolls of toilet paper.
Like I said, you could buy one a month there. Like there was no shortage. They're like, you can just
one a year is all you need to buy.
Hey, I'm just telling you, they were limiting it because of COVID. Okay, they opened up the factory and then they limited it because of COVID, and they got in all sorts of trouble for selling it wholesale and then they didn't care. So
now, people just need to learn the military technique. One sheet of toilet paper is all you need.
I do laundry. I encourage my boys to use more than one.
So the corporal in the army told me this. He said 1 sheet of paper. So, I mean, I've not even got a piece of paper I can show you with, but you fold it in half and half again. And you tie the corner off. You end up with a square with a hole in. That's for your finger to go through, to wipe it all off. Use the tissue to pull it off your finger, and then the bit you tore off out the middle, that cleans under your nail. One wipe technique.
Oh my God, I saw that video. I remember that video that guy posted. I'm like, oh, that is so foul.
I got told that when was I 20 odd years ago by a corporal in the army. That was funny.
This is why you have certain hands you shake hands with in different countries.
Yes.
Why some people are different. You shake hands with different hands in different countries. You must know which hand to eat with and which hand to shake hands with and not touch.
And that's a legitimate thing from medieval times. You always wiped with your left because you ate with the right, because they weren't as hygienic. Obviously, there was no sanitizer next to them loose.
Certain countries they're still not as hygienic with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to France and there was just a hole in the ground. I'm like, where's the rest of the toilet?
So yes. And those are the public bathrooms right next to Notre Dame, like right across from Notre Dame, the public restrooms. And you go in there and all you get is a drain. And you're like, I'm a girl. I cannot do this.
What? Wait, you mean you can't write your name in the snow without stepping on your letters?
No. And I had on pants.
I had to go there.
Not a skirt. It was pants. Like, I mean, I'm really good at the woods. I can find me the right size tree and I'm fine. But a little drain pipe in where there's like open doors, it's not happening. Not happening.
I remember in Germany back in the 70s, I went there in Munich and we're walking through whatever big mall with the Glockenspiel and all that. I had to go. I had to pee. Dad's like, all right, let's find a bathroom. So we found whatever the bathroom was. It was just a wall with a little trough at the bottom with water running down the trough. And I'm like, okay.
Listen,
and everybody's just standing there doing their business. I'm like, all right, whatever. Nobody cared because that's the natural thing you got to do. Just pee in the trough and it just runs
that's
out
upmarket. That's upmarket compared to parts of France. We stopped at a service station and it was just a concrete room. Side cubicle walls, but no doors, and it was just literally a concrete hole in the floor with some toilet roll next to you. You just had to squat, and openly there's, everyone walking in could see you.
Yeah. Okay, if you're modest, don't go to Belgium because they have men's urinals on the sides of cathedrals, and people are just peeing on the side of the cathedral in a urinal. Like there's no walls.
It's celebrated over there. You've got the Monica piece, right? I
guess. Boy. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember. I think, is it Japan? I'm trying to remember which country it is. Where they'll have the restroom out there, building, and it says women on this side, men on this side. You go through the doors, and guess what? It's one big room.
Yeah. I don't know how we got on this topic from hurricanes.
Yeah, we got on this topic because of you saying there was no toilet paper shortage because all plywood.
There wasn't.
Yeah.
So what does peeing on the side of a church have to do with hurricanes?
Anyways, yeah. Well,
You don't have to find a bathroom over there in a hurricane. That's all I got to say.
Well, if you've peed on the side of the church, you've probably annoyed somebody and he sent a hurricane. That's what.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So, so supplies is going to be a diversion of supplies. Construction stuff. Obviously, construction, because they got to get ready beforehand. The hurricane's going to be hitting us in 3 days. Everybody buy plywood. Then afterwards, it's like, okay, now we need 2x4s and bags of cement and everything else to rebuild.
Don't forget all the batteries and flashlights and water bottles that Walmart imports in real quick from everywhere else. And I can't get AA batteries at my local Sam's Club about a week before a hurricane because they diverted everything and pulled it off the shelves by the pallet to ship it south, because everybody needs 100,000 AA batteries in their house, just like the prepper, the unprepared prepper who, oh my God, I need to buy a new multi-tool. Let me buy 12 of them. Really? You only need one, but okay.
But why are these people repeat offenders? What do they do with this stuff after the hurricane? Do they think, oh, I don't need this anymore, I'm just going to give it all to Goodwill and have to buy
Tammy
it all
said
again?
it earlier. I mean, the plywood and that, they don't treat it, so it's not. They're not exactly buying marine grade plywood, which is semi-impervious to salt water, regular water for a period of time, not a long time, a period of time. They buy just the cheapest plywood they can get, 1/2 inch or 3 millimeter, 4 millimeter, and they cut it to fit, screw it to the walls and a bunch of drywall screws that are not weather related or weather rated.
Yeah.
And then they unscrew it and throw it in the trash.
The word is galvanized.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
Rob, no, I am right now. I'm in Idaho, which is where we're retiring to. My daughter's across the street on our other property. My wife is still, she's up here right now with me, but she's still down in California at our other house. So, but yeah, I have been to Disneyland, but not during hurricane. Actually, it was during hurricane season. But it was in between that my brother booked the thing at Disney World, and we had nice weather in between the hurricanes.
I've actually been in a hurricane.
Oh, I've been in a couple. Even
I
in
have
New
a
Jersey,
question.
I was in a couple.
I have a question. Why is it every time there's going to be an ice storm, there's going to be bad weather, hurricanes, whatever, everybody runs out to buy bread and milk? Are they eating bread and milk sandwiches? What do these people not have something better in their home?
Welcome to the American national news media.
Yeah, bread and milk.
They tell you people are running out and buying bread, milk, and toilet paper. So what does everybody else do? Oh, there must be a reason. Let me go. You're going to be literally snowed in for 2 days. 2 days. I used to run out to the store and buy a 30-pack of beer and a tub of ice cream because I would sit in the front window and watch the idiots try to drive. It was the best entertainment ever. And then I go out and shovel, and I go to work 2 days later. I'm like, what is wrong with you people?
Your power's going to be out. You're not going to be able to refrigerate. You're going to have sour milk in 2 days.
If it's the winter time, my deck is a refrigerator. I just put it in the cooler so it doesn't freeze.
Well, I mean, hurricanes are south. They're warm.
Yeah.
They're not.
Tammy, it's the same thing that I've noticed since 1971 during this when we had Silmar earthquake down in Southern California. Immediately, the stores were out of milk, bread, toilet paper, those 3 things in the first 3 hours.
Yeah, and then generators and
they didn't have people. The generators were for sale back then. Then you had to go to special places for that. Then the meat, the not canned meat, the refrigerated meat.
Yeah, fresh meat.
Then the frozen meat and vegetables. And it's like, wait a minute, we just had an earthquake. Yeah, it was just to give you an idea. When they first announced it, it was a 7.1. 4 hours later, it was a 7.0. The next day, it was a 6.9. The day after that, it was actually, we downgraded to a 6.8. Then a 6.7. But We had a 7.1 earthquake. Oh no! Folks, it's over. The aftershocks, the highest aftershock was a 5.1.
Yeah, aftershocks are just there to shake loose, to shake to the floor whatever didn't fall during the 6.9.
Yeah, what's just barely balancing to get it off the wall or off the roof, whatever.
Like, oh, that's still sitting there. Hold on a second. There you go. It's on the floor now.
So they do? So Mike, do they do that in the UK? Run to the store to buy bread and milk? Or is that just a US thing?
For the weather stuff, no, not really. Every time there's a strong breeze over here, there's storm warnings, so we've stopped panicking because every so often it's a real one, but most of the time we don't even notice. But during the C19 times, I saw exactly what you're talking about. People coming out with trolley carts full of milk. And then not 5-6 days later, I saw wheelie bins out ready for the bins to collect with lots of off milk next to this bin because they realized they'd panic. I mean, it did give me a little bit of hope that after the toilet roll, bread and milk, pasta sold out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at least some of them are thinking a bit more long term.
Yeah.
Pasta, rice, and beans. Yep.
Yeah.
And tomato sauce.
Oh no, they didn't think that far ahead. Just dry, plain pasta, no sauce, no seasoning.
You ever try to eat dry pasta? It's not fun.
Okay, but Mark, in the UK they actually make their own sauce.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, so do I, but that's besides the point.
Oh, Europe is like good at making sauce.
Don't give us that much credit. I have loads of jars of cheap sauce upstairs in my preps. I can make sauce, but we don't always.
Oh, Ready Prepper One has joined us too, and so did Tammy Harder. I like Tammy's comment there. It's called the Midwest Starter Pack: bread, milk, and toilet paper.
That's not
that's
Midwest.
The thing is, when you have
an American starter pack. Yeah.
When you have a hurricane impacting a lumber producing area, it's a problem all across the country. When you have the hurricane impacting the oil producing area, even though there are some of the largest refineries in California, prices go up.
Yeah, New Jersey.
We gotta ship our stuff to other states, so we're gonna charge local people more and ship ours. It's like,
let's sell it to China at $2 a barrel, and we're still going to sell it here at $20 a barrel. Yeah.
Why are these people not buying sandbags?
Because they don't have sand.
Florida has sand.
If the thing is that they dig up all the sand in Florida to make sandbags, they're going to
have no Florida left.
I wasn't going to go quite that far, but I was going to say there's going to be some poles.
Yeah. Well, I mean, every time you make a pot,
Jack is down there in Florida. Geeky Gardens. He's down there in Florida.
Well, every time you make a pothole in Florida and it fills in with water, you get a gator in it. They pulled an 8-foot gator out of a pothole down the road from where I lived, and it literally was just a little tiny, like 2 foot by 2 foot pothole in the ground, and they pulled an 8-foot gator.
Curled up in it.
He was straight down with his nose stuck up. He was just waiting for something to come by and.
Oh, that was one of those deep potholes.
Yeah, he was totally not seen.
You sure that wasn't Pennsylvania roadways?
Well, it was a dirt 2 track I lived on, but which is now like a major highway in Florida. But back then it was a dirt 2 track.
Yeah, Jack says most cities give away the sandbags, but because they were given it, they got it for free. They don't keep them.
Right.
That is a problem with a lot of people that get sandbags. They don't keep them.
No, they dump the sand around the property and throw the bags in the trash. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, Geeky Gardens. If it's wet, there's a gator in it.
Yeah, it's there. Oh, wait a minute. The wheeled medic is in here. Welcome. Came in on Mike's side. It's easier than saying you just need a front end loader.
I've seen some cool devices. It looks like a hand truck, like a hand cart, where your sandbag hooks to it. You lay it down flat. You just shovel sand into it and stand it up, and the sand goes in it like a funnel, and you zip it shut. Shove the sandbag off. Roll your hand truck about a foot away. Lay it down. Do the same thing over and over. You could fill up like 100 sandbags an hour easily. But nobody they sell them, but nobody looks at that.
We don't need sandbags like that.
I don't need sandbags like I need toilet paper every day. Yeah.
Monkey Wrench said there that he doesn't buy sandbags. He fills trash bags with sand from the yard. So there's always a way to improvise. And I think when there's been floods in York before, they've used just earth in bin bags to create that kind of same sort of sandbag.
Yeah. I love the guy that did it was like a big water mattress that he filled up.
It was down in Mississippi.
All the way around his property, and then it got almost to the top of his berm.
Yeah,
it
was like it's like a giant water bag, and you fill it with water, and
it's easy to come by right then.
Property and water got behind it, like those swimming pools that you fill the rim with air, and you just fill it up, and it floats to the top. The little not the portable, but the temporary swimming pools. It was backwards. It just filled with water. So as the water got against it, it was just as heavy, so it didn't push it over. Yeah, he had a nice green lawn around his house, surrounded by he was waterfront property, 360 degrees. It was awesome. I'm like, that's cool. And it conforms to the shape of the lawn, the grass, the ground, whatever, because it's water. And it was a super thick rubber bag type thing, but it was like, 200 yards long or 400 meters long. It was just cool.
Have you guys seen the sandless sandbags? And it's got like a cardboard compound in it that expands when the water hits it.
I saw one with some sort of silicon gel like you have in the disposable diapers that expands it.
If that's all right, I'll share.
Here we go. All right, here we go. Maybe come on, add. Why he doesn't want to add?
Oh, Mike's going to add his. Hold on. You didn't hear him.
Oh, that's why. Because hang on. I got to get rid of the one I had over there. There we go. Now I can add it. There we go.
There you go. So this is a supplier I wouldn't really recommend, but these are on like military surplus sites and stuff like that. So you can literally, if there's a risk of a flood, you can lie them out in a sandbag formation. As the water hits them, they expand. The downside is it's one time, but they'll never work right the second time. But you can imagine for storage, stacking them up and stuff like that, that they're a good investment for somebody that's at risk.
Yeah, that looks similar to one of the ones I saw where it was basically the stuff they put in disposable diapers. You know how it absorbs all the moisture, does the same thing.
Orbeez.
Speaking of that, though, there was another one.
I was going to ask what it's called. Orbeez. Yeah, fill a bunch of bags with Orbeez. They fill up. They'll probably explode the bags. And but they fill up. They absorb all the water. They stick to each other and doesn't let the water through like a diaper. And I think that's what Orbeez are, just like giant diaper pellets.
Not too far off.
I'm looking something up here. Something else I saw. Is it? Oh, okay. Find the right one here. This one looks similar, but it's not quite. There was a thing. I saw a video on it, a little short video on it, showing a thing. It looked like a piece of plastic, about 2 foot wide, shaped like the letter T, upside down. So it was flat and had a little flapper. So basically, it was like this. And so basically, when the water hit it, it wouldn't fold over because the water was also pushing down, trying to get under it as well. And I can't seem to find. It's probably too new to have any pictures out here. But yeah, someone was showing that video, and it was so cool that it was just one of those cool things. But that's the thing is, how has anybody tried buying sandbags during hurricane season? Anywhere else besides?
I don't live in an area that requires sandbags at all.
Yeah.
So
That's right. You're not over in Mount Pleasant.
no, I'm at 900 feet. And I'm kind of in the Appalachians, so it's not. I don't get flooded. Water flows downhill. I'm in the middle of the hill.
Ah,
Is that what you're on about? So it's like a L shape, and then wherever the water comes over.
The one I
here.
saw had like a little kicker off the backside to give it a little more stability. But yeah, that's the type of things that they just snap together, and it works for the water hits it, but it's pushing down too, so it just creates a downward pressure to keep it from moving and water from going under it. That's
a larger cost than sandbags, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you ain't tossing those in the scrap heap when you're done.
Yeah, that's only 75 centimeters of flood defense.
Yeah,
135 pounds.
And you need a half a kilometer of that to go around your house.
Yeah. The Mark, I know in Mount Pleasant, Pennsylvania, which is 45 miles outside of Pittsburgh.
Yep.
In the wintertime, first they get it put out all the sandbags and stuff for people to use because of the rainstorms, and then they have where the free sand was. Then they have the free salt. When it starts snowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, sandbags over here, like they'll all get shipped. Oh, hurricane season? We don't need them here in California. We don't need them up in Washington, Montana, Arizona. They go.
Yeah, and then ship it all to Florida. Yeah.
Ship it all to Florida, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia. And they ship it all back there, and everyone else is being affected by it. And some of the things I saw in that is like they shipped it all there and not even 10% were used. And so they shipped them all back again.
Yeah. Price goes up, price goes down.
Roughly 60,000 already stacked by Finland.
The good news is you put sandbags up for a flood. They also keep pew-pews from getting through.
Yeah.
So when everybody gets rid of their sandbags, just go pick them up. You could build an entire house out of sandbags, and yeah, you're bulletproof.
Happy there was a flood last month because I've just built 2 pillboxes on my front lawn out of sandbags.
All right, so Tammy, is this the height? This says Hydra barrier.
Yeah,
it's like a what? Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the one the guy put clear around his property, and
yeah.
It was
like 3 feet high or a meter high, but it was enough because they put their houses in areas that are slightly higher than the fields. So if a levee breaks along the Mississippi, it generally doesn't go higher than about 3 foot above where they're at. And I remember seeing those. Those are really cool. That guy was like a legend.
He took and built a berm. So he had like a 4-foot bank, and then he put that on the top of his bank. So he really was an engineering. Yeah. He was not letting his house go down with a ship.
No, and his driveway, you needed a 4-wheel drive Jeep to go up his driveway because it went up the berm and down the berm. And that was his driveway. So he was fully surrounded by a dike.
Aiden Air, was that pub made out of sandbags from WW2?
Probably.
Still had bullet holes in it.
Yeah.
And bags, just saying.
Yeah. So if
he was on the beach in Normandy.
Yeah. So one of the points I wanted to get across with tonight's thing is, if you have a project coming up, and like for here in the U.S., they're coming to hurricane season, and some of those items are going to be diverted, you may want to get it ahead of time and store it in the garage or whatever else, because sometimes prices are going to go.
Yeah.
And or the price is not going to go up. It's just that they don't have it on stock because everything's gone.
And if it's a regular occurrence, don't buy disposable crap.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yes.
Very good point.
Yeah, if you're going to buy it, make it permanent and buy it ahead of time so you can paint it with some good oil-based paint that's not going to peel off when the water hits it, and nice and good.
And I just thought of a reason why they throw the sandbags out. I wasn't thinking about this at first because we don't have this problem around here.
Burlap.
But no, because the sandbags have been exposed to open raw sewage in that flooding. And
Yeah.
so that's why they're throwing them out. So
Yeah, but-
that is a problem. You're
Yeah.
not going to bleach them. You don't want to handle them.
Yeah.
You can't bleach sand.
Yeah.
Sand.
You just let it wash back out to the sea.
Fill in those potholes in case there's a gator in there.
Okay, we've reached the top of the just about to the top of the hour. Tammy, are you going to go live this week?
I don't know yet. I don't know my schedule. I don't know my schedule for the rest of the week. I'm sorry.
Mike, when are you going live
Flying.
next?
Next will probably be Sunday for our Preppers Fireside, which I'm not
Okay.
sure the time that works out for you guys. It's 9 p.m. my time. So
I'll be asleep.
whatever.
No,
5
9
hours,
p.m.
5 hours
9
ago.
p.m. His time is about
5 hours ago for you now.
about 7 hours. So it'll be 2 o'clock my time. My time here. So that would be 4 o'clock your time, Tammy.
PM or AM?
PM.
PM.
Oh, I'm awake then. Okay. Yeah. I'll have to
We're awake in
I'm
the
awake.
afternoon over here. We don't sleep that much.
speak for yourself. I'm old enough to take naps, and I'm proud of it.
I didn't know there was an age thing. I've always took naps.
So for me, coming up here, Thursday is the Midnight Ride. That's 10 p.m. Eastern, which, hang on, let me do the math here. That's 1, 2, 3. That's 3 a.m. for Mike.
I might still be up.
He'll be up.
Friday on my other channel, Kent Patton Family Compound, the topic is walk behind garden tools. Saturday, back here on Gray Man Prepping for Survival Saturday, after the event, the topic is after the water stops, what are your plans? So, and then next Monday, we'll be doing candy again, preserving citrus fruit.
Ah, okay.
So that'll be Monday on Kent
I
Patton
got some
Family
good ones
Compound, and that'll be Tammy and Mark specifically on that. They're with me.
I'll be a raccoon for that one.
Oh, you'll be a raccoon for that one. Okay.
Yeah, I
Not
only
a
pulled
he-
up this one because of hurricanes. So yeah,
Not a He-Man, huh?
I have the power.
Yeah. Next Tuesday for Tactical Tuesday, the topic is creating a working budget. All right, so that's what's coming on.
There you go.
And as always, everyone, remember, stay happy no matter what life throws at you. Stay safe. Don't go out and do anything foolish, like stocking up a 4-year supply of toilet paper in a month. Keep adding to your preps: water, food, medicine, clothing. Learn a new skill every month and grow something healthy. All right, everyone. Oh, Tupai just came in.
Hey, Doug. Sorry. Watch the rerun.
Yeah. All right, everyone. We'll see you around, and stay safe.
Have a good night.